Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a best of 3 between Clem and Shin over here in the bottom left of Ley Lines. And I'm very excited for this match. Shin as my favorite Zerg player and Clem as one of the Terran players that I don't hate. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. I haven't actually watched a Clem TVZ in quite a while. I went on a holiday, so I missed a lot of his games against Serral. I saw some of the YouTube thumbnails, okay, and it looked pretty freaking epic. But I personally haven't actually watched any of these games quite yet. I'm, as some of you might know, more of a headline reader majority of the time. So thumbnails and titles, you know, it's the equivalent of the newspaper headline. That's where I get most of my information. And apparently, Clem was playing some pretty phenomenal StarCraft 2. I'm very excited to see it. Look how he moves the Reaper, by the way. It looks almost as if the Reaper is lagging. But that's because he's hold positioning while he's clicking. So if a unit gets into range, he'll instantly shoot it. It's a really cool little move that is pretty APM intensive, but usually Clem has plenty of APM to spare, especially in the first 3 minutes of the game. So he's not going to be worrying about that too much. He still seems to be going for those standard triple CC openers, no fast second gas. Now, when we're talking about Terran versus Zerg openers, I think we can generally divide them into 3, what I would call like major lines. The first major line is going to be depot on the low ground, barracks, a multi-reaper opener. And that's going to go perhaps into a triple CC or a double CC, doesn't matter so much. But you have that double barracks reaper opener. That's not what Clem went for. Clem went for a barracks, single gas, single barracks CC opener. And then you have the decision between getting a fast second gas and going for quicker starport and quicker harass, quicker Hellions, that type of stuff. Or you can go for the fast third CC. It's going to delay your follow-up Banshee. It's going to delay your Hellions by a little bit as well. But you have that really quick triple CC. And Clem, that has been his favorite for a while, and it still seems to be his favorite. It's actually going to be capable of running by here with 2 Hellions as well as a Reaper. And I'm never entirely sure what a good what a good result is here for him. You know, is he happy with killing, what was it, 3 workers? Are we okay with that? Losing 2 of those Hellions, losing 1 of those Reapers? Is life going to be fine? I'm not entirely sure. What I do know is that he's probably gonna just try it again, isn't he? Yeah, there we go. Next 2 Hellions are ready to fly once more. These Lings probably want to go in for a bit of a run by, but as we have these Hellions at home, Shin should be aware of that. He's seen just 2 extra ones move out. Perhaps if the next 2, you know, go across the map, maybe combining with number 7 and 8, we'll see a little bit of a Ling run by as well. That is, of course, one of the things that Shin loves to do. Absolutely adores that type of play. Barracks as a follow-up. Banshee Cloak halfway done. First Banshee out on the map. Triple Spores coming in as well. So Shin seems to be appropriately dressed for the occasion of Banshee Hellion. We have a third gas coming in. Like, this is all very standard Clem type of play. Look at this depot, look at this depot. Oh, there we go. It's gonna get raised just in time. And Shin does not see that. He's just testing. It's like, hey, do you have something here? Maybe I can clear an SCV that's building a depot here. Maybe I can even right-click that depot. And indeed he can. This is going to get in. And look at that. A full all-army command back home here for Clem. Very frustrating. Banshee's gonna deal with this. That's going to alleviate some of that pressure off of Shin. We see 17 drones in production at an instant. We don't have a 4th base yet, by the way. It's one of those things that Clem has managed to stop. I'm expecting... Well, what am I expecting? I was going to say I'm expecting a hatchery over here, but then I saw this freaking low ground. I'm like, well, maybe not. It seems like a viable position for a tank to be at. Double Banshee on the right side, though, is just going to deny this base. Enough damage output. Oh, no cancel either. That's minus a drone and minus 275 minerals. Frustrating. Couple of Lings now on the way out. At this point for Shin, it makes 0 sense to add in extra drones, because he just doesn't have the base capacity to kind of send them there. We have the Hellions on the top side wanting to deny the top 4, and we have the Banshees on the bottom side willing to clear that bottom side 4th base. Banshees now coming back in, are going to get 1 or 2 kills. I really like the way Clem is playing this. Very little risk and quite a decent reward, so far at least. Just going to kind of idle these Banshees in this general area. Shin, of course, is aware of that. He's like, hey, I've played against Clem before. I know what he likes to do. I'm just going to keep my queens here. Ooh, off creep. Clem wasn't paying attention. Still going to be capable of saving both of those Banshees. Can now send them back for some repairs. As, oh no, Clem. 3 more barracks on the way. All of those being produced at the outside third base as well. So this is scoutable for Shin. And that could give him a pretty fat hint here, a pretty fat tip that this is going to indeed be some type of 8-Rex play. That is seemingly what Clem is going for. I'm expecting all tanks to stay at home with this build, by the way. Like, usually when your follow-up is going to be a heavy marine focus, you want to keep all of your tanks alive. So in a different situation, we might see like a tank Hellion push here, but not today. Ling run by comes in. There is a tank on the right, semi in range. Banshee's actually out of position. It's going to be, what, 10 worker kills or so? 7, 8 worker kills. Pretty decent run by. Also is going to force this army back. Shin, supply-wise, not necessarily doing super hot, but information-wise, man, this guy is living in the ultimate information era right now. He's seeing everything. He has 5 hatcheries, which is enough for constant Ling Bane production. He knows what's kicking off. He's going to go Hydra, Ling, Bane. Now, the question that a lot of Zergs ask themselves in this type of scenario is, how hard do I want to go into tech? Do I want to throw down an infestation pit and maybe see if I can get Vipers out? Or do I just stick to pure Hydra, Ling, Bane on like a middle of the road type of worker count? So somewhere between like 70 and 80. Is that what I want to do? Shin is going for neither of those options really and is staying low worker count. No tech. I haven't seen this a whole lot, if I'm being honest. I guess his focus is going to be on dealing damage with run-bys. The problem with playing 3-base eco versus 3-base eco is that usually the Terran will outmine you, right? Because mules allow you to... mules were like 3.5 workers or so. So if you're even in workers, it's good for the Terran. While as a Zerg player, if you have like 10 more drones or 15 more drones, you're kind of putting a timer on the Terran player to go do something important. Now, killing those workers, of course, kind of has the same effect here. This is a very good fight, by the way, here out of Shin. Shin is perhaps even going to catch some of these tanks. There's not enough links to really catch them. So the tanks will manage to escape. This fight also continues off creep a little bit too far, in my opinion. And these Marines will just manage to get away with it. Medivacs, pretty much out of energy. There's one of them that still has a little bit, or 2 that still have a little bit, I guess. But it's really just a little bit. Army fairly damaged as well. The next stim is going to put this within one-shot range of the Banelings. Transfuse is going down. A single Bane just needs to hit. And that could be it over here. Tanks now going down as well, as every single tank is going to fall. But the Baneling count has dropped to 1. We're going to build 8 more. Let's see if Shin can stay alive until those bad boys actually finish morphing. Tutu not quite done yet for Clem. Is actually a blessing for Shin, because if that upgrade would have finished, boy, this would have been a hard one. New tank is now coming in. A couple of Banelings coming out. The fact that there's no detection here to deal with these Banshees is very painful. There's a lot of damage output. Overseer still not moving in forward. There we go. Finally, these Banshees are going to fall. No, they actually move away. Good control here out of Clem, who's at 125 supply against the 124 of his opponent. 2-2 versus 1-1. So we're now going to get a bit of an upgrade lead here for the Terran player, who continues sniping individual Banes here throughout. You have the double Banshee heading towards the top, wanting to see, hey, is there a base there? And if not, that's a pretty big deal. Ling run by here is good, by the way. It's going to maybe force some reinforcements to go here, maybe kill a worker or 2 as well, but no, it's going to get cleaned up relatively easily. If this fort base dies, I think Shin might start struggling with larva, because he doesn't have that many injects going off right now. There's no injects actually going off, and that means he's probably going to be floating a little bit of cash. It means the majority of his army will be put into Banelings and into Hydras, I think would be the correct play, because otherwise you're just going to be floating a lot of cash, right? 3-3 starts instantly as well. And now, funnily enough, it is actually Shin who's on a timer, because once 3-3 finishes up and you don't have Hive is just going to be really hard. Clem is still pushing into this position because he can, but he doesn't really need to. Like, he has a lot of time on his hands. His opponent is on 3 base, he's on 3 base, he's getting better upgrades. But he says, you know what, I just want to go in here. I know you don't have enough Banelings, I can snipe all of the ones that are morphing. And that, my dear friends, is going to be game 1, heading in favor of our French Terran player, as Shin taps out. And I think in a game like that, a lot of the problems, the trouble that Shin walked into can be led back to that to that Banshee move, cancelling that forward base. I think that's a very big move for a couple of reasons. Reason number one is that you're kind of forced into a higher gas count. Like you're on 67 workers, your forward base is getting cancelled. Well, it's not even getting cancelled. You just lost it straight up, so you're also losing that money. But you don't have the drones to saturate a lot of minerals. And against these types of pure marine tank builds, having a higher Ling Bane count is actually very useful. And even if you don't want to go above 70 workers, just staying on like 4 gas or maybe even 3 gas, playing pure Ling Bane can really boost your supply in a big way and make these fights a little bit easier, make these run-bys a little bit bigger as well. Like a very big tool, something that we see someone like Dark do very frequently, is just send like 70 links across the map. There's no tanks at home anymore. The Banshees are with the army majority of the time as well. So like these pure Ling run-bys can just completely destroy the eco at the third base. However, if your army consists of like a lot of Hydras, yes, the army value might be very similar or maybe even a little bit better, at least in the gas count. The problem is that you just don't have so many units for run-bys available, and your army also just isn't that big mineral-wise. So these counterattacks are way less scary because they consist of less units majority of the time. So I think that is a pretty big deal. And then, of course, you also have the issue of larvae that just aren't there to produce these many links. We saw the moment the queens get to the fight is you're lacking the larva just altogether because you're not injecting anymore. Just life becomes very difficult for Shin. Shin's going to be moving towards the bottom side here with this drone. Clem gambled, and he gambled incorrectly because he went to the top side to block a base that is not going to go down until a very, very long time from now. Makes you wonder, by the way, whether Shin is going to take this as his fourth. Or if he says, no, actually, this is my third base, this is my fourth base, and then maybe 5, 6, something along those lines would be, of course, a real possibility. Another real possibility, by the way, is for you guys to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm trying to get to the 50k here on the HarstemCasts channel. So if you've been enjoying the content, be sure to hit that subscriber subscription button. And we'll be continuing on with this game over here. It's this Reaper, look at that. It's moving towards the bottom side, gets the scout off. So that's already good info for Clem as he throws down his own triple CC. It's going to be swapping the barracks with the factory and a second barracks. Different opener here, very different opener. This is going to be a low Hellion count, a high marine count, much quicker medevac follow-up here. So we still have that same framework that we saw in the previous game. Remember how I described those 3 kind of different openers, these 3 different paths that he can walk. He goes for the triple CC, but then of course there's still a lot of variety within that triple CC. We're going to be going for the double barracks. This could be 2 Hellion, this could be 4 Hellion as well. I think it's just going to remain 2 Hellion at this point. Yeah, it's going to swap it over with that barracks and start marine production rapidly. Now, it's going to be key for Shin to figure out what is going on over here. And it actually could be a pretty big deal if he figures out what's going on. Because look at this. What's at home right now? We have these 2 Hellions. If they move across the map, and a run-by gets in somehow, some way, there is nothing there defensively but a couple of Marines. And you don't want to be losing those Marines because you're really kind of counting on the Marines getting to a decent Marine count, and then your first double drop dealing some damage or clearing a fort base, taking out 5-6 creep tumor and a queen that is, just a waddling off creep. You see Clem is actually playing a very kind of passive game if you compare it to what he did with the last 2 Hellions, where he just kind of ran in, killed 3-4 workers. It's not the case this time around. Getting a high queen count, by the way, 6, 7, 8. Lynx scout. So he doesn't get any big smoking guns, although he did see a few smoking guns with the Link. Like he didn't see entirely what was going on, but based on the fact that there's 5 Marines here, it already tells you that there is a reactor pumping out Marines. And he should probably know that this is of a triple CC as well. So I do believe that Shin is capable enough to kind of figure out what's going on over here. And that's going to make matters extremely easy for him. Because if you're a Zerg player that is as experienced as Shin, you know all those timings, right? You see these Marines, you see the triple CC, or you can feel that there's a triple CC. You can basically say, okay, I have until like maybe 5:20 where I can drone. And then I'm going to have to start popping units like a madman. So he's going to absolutely, kind of maximize for this moment. He's going to have the most efficient way of getting there. And now he's going to start just basically building links. Couple of roaches in the mix as well. And, oh, I dig this. I really do like this. I really do like this. So we have not a full wall, actually. It means that these lings will be capable of dealing a lot of damage. Oh, I wish they went into the natural here. Oh, how I wish they went into the net. Because that natural was freaking powerless. There was nothing there to deal with a big ling run by. There's so many lings here. He's only going to get 4 SCVs as a result. This depot actually isn't up quite yet. Clem really needs to up that. I think that could have been straight up game over. Shin here traded 6 SCV kills for his own fort base, mining. Roaches are going to stop these marines from continuing on. There's no combat shield yet. Had combat shield finished already at that point, like these roaches would have been in some trouble, but that's just not the case. There's a pure lift on this base right now. You have more roaches on the way, which is kind of weird. It's almost as if he wants to go into a follow-up roach attack. He's getting the gold, so that could actually be a real possibility. Clem got completely away with murder here, by the way. Like, his position isn't good. I'm not trying to say that. I actually think he is in a very weak spot right now. But he could have just died. There were 3 marines at home. There was no tank quite yet on the high ground. And there was like 25 lings. Like, if the Reaper 2 Hellion needs to come back to deal with that, there's no safe spots for them either. Like, you're just gonna lose like 8, 9, 10 workers or something like that. It would have been absolute hell. And even, what the hell is that? Oh, he wanted to spread creep. The bile and creep are at the same hotkey, so I forgot to select the creep tumors there. I mean, this still looks really freaking bad right now for Clem. Clem's going to be sending out double medevacs at the worst possible timing. This is a beautiful freaking build out of Shin, by the way. Absolutely phenomenal. 58 workers here against the 57 of his opponent. Clem had no clue what was going on. The Ling run by kind of ensured that, and here comes the tank. He's gonna get taken out. Lings are in the natural. At the same time, Roach is at the front. GG gets called. Shin, with an insane timing here, takes out the world champ. And I think that's Shin in a nutshell as well. He's really kind of cool timings. A lot of kind of different build orders. It was like a carapace, a 1 carapace, Roach, Ravager, Ling all in. Like, that is cool as hell, if you ask me. Hey, it actually is cool as hell. I've never seen that before. What's going on over here, though? No third base. Fast speed. Single drone mining and gas. Okay, it's just going to expand towards the top side. Has gotten 1 extra queen on the way already. I think Clem is going to have to confirm kind of what's going on. And based on that, he might actually change his output here. Yeah. He sees the third base, instantly throws down the starport. I wonder if there's no third base here, if he just adds a second barracks and says, hey, I want a little bit more safety, higher marine counts. Like if it's like a queen roach knight or something along those lines. It's nice to scout that. Relatively fast gas. I'm kind of feeling the Banshee vibes again. I mean, why not? You've performed well with the Banshees in the first game. You didn't perform so well with the double barracks in the second game. Let's just go back to what we won with. That is the the easy logic here that Clem can work with. Starport's about to finish up. Indeed, it's going to be Banshee. Now, I wonder if Shin is going to be doing something different. I also wonder if Clem has the guts to go into an 8-Rex again here on Frostline. Because it is a build that has quite a bit of risk. And it's, if you're the favorite in a series, doing that type of build in the first game feels kind of good. If it's 1-1 with the series on the line, do you really want to go for an all-in like that? Because yes, it's a very powerful thing to do, but at the same time, there are counters to it. And Shin knows those counters as well. It's not like it's the first time in his life he's played against an 8-Rex. I hope not. Actually, it would be, a blissful life for Shin at least. Never having to have played against 8-Rex. That would be a wild thing. Pro gamer of like 12 years. Impressive stuff. Oh, this Ling run by will be huge. Could be huge. He sees the Hellion still over here. First Banshee comes out, 4:30. So the timing to go in would be right about now, I guess. 2 Hellions are still at home, though. I don't think these are ever going to leave. Not until the full wall has completed. Terrans have gotten really kind of careful with this type of stuff. Where in the past they would just kind of, willy-nilly rally these Hellions across the map. But Zergs have gotten so good at run buying and knowing when these units pop out. Like, they know the exact timings. It's like, okay, I want to know whether there's Hellions there or not before I go in. And you kind of have this weird standoff. Shin is aware of the fact that there's a standoff, and Clem's just chilling. Doesn't quite know what's going on over here. Double Evo chambers. No lair quite yet. Banshee is just chilling out of Overlord range for now. Oh, he's gonna send them. Okay, look at this. Shin, are you paying attention? 3, 2, 1, go. This is the time to go. This is the time to go. This is optimal. Absolutely optimal. No banshees at home. No full wall. Instant response out of Clem. Is going to pull to the ramp. 4 Marines are out. And all Hellions and Banshees once again get pulled back. Just like in, I think it was that first game we saw that. This was worth it, by the way. A cancel on a depot. A full pullback. And only a couple of links that end up going down. Now this is going to suck a bit more because he's actually going to lose these. Bunch of mining time losses, of course, also a relatively big deal. 1 SCV going down. Like, this is completely fine here for Shin. It gives him a little bit more time to prepare for everything. Does not have a fort base yet. During this, I really think a fort base should have been sent out. This link run by is gonna get caught. That is bad. It's a couple of links that go down. And it also means that Clem now knows that there is no different link run by on the map. These SCVs are extremely vulnerable at this moment. As the Queens start smashing those cars. 6 cars and a dream. Link's coming in with a run by. Ooh, managed to run out. Oh, that's really cool. Dude, if he can get to this 3rd base, that would be a huge deal, no? There's nothing there defending it. We don't have an overseer here, by the way, which is really weird. Oh, bad micro on those links. Lots of links going down right now. 9,000 resources lost against 75. Clem is completely destroying Shin here with a fairly small amount of tools. This is going to be a surround on this, but this is not enough queens. This is only 2 queens, and yes, the overseer will finish up. 3rd queen now shows up. 4th queen is going to show up, but 2 of them will go down here already. And I think none of these banshees will actually end up dying. There's no queen in the main base. That means minus 4, 6, 7, 8 drones. A couple of SCVs are going to fall here. Look at that. 5, 6 SCVs going down, but so will a bunch of links. Not as great as Shin probably was dreaming of. Once again, we're in just this kind of awkward situation. Clem not opting for an Adrax this time around, but even just a standard push here. Like, if he pulls a tank with this push, good luck, my dear friend. It's gonna be rough. Absolutely, it's gonna be rough. Luckily for Shin, that's not what's happening. This tank is gonna stay at home. Clem even is staying at home with a lot of units. He's not pushing out at a very high pace. Tank once again re-sieging here. SCV pool. Well done. The response time of Clem is so freaking fast. Like, it's so freaking fast. If I hadn't watched him play firsthand, you could call him a hacker, you know? With the speeds that he always... Like, even early when he pulled those Marines and SCVs to the ramp, he just knows exactly what needs to happen in every situation, which makes his response time so fast. If he sees it on the minimap, he's good at that. But then on top of that, he doesn't have to think anymore. Like, he's an execution machine at this point, you know? He's thought out every little scenario in his head. He ran the simulations, and then he ran the actual experiments as well. And then now we're here, you know? So Banshee's gonna fly into a spore. Stays alive. How many kills do we have on that? 9. I mean, this is going to be the end of at least this drop. Not going to survive for much longer. 9 Hydras on the way, 150 supplied to 140. This is not looking great though for Shin. We have a double drop heading towards the top side. You clear like 4 or 5 tumors here. That's all the tumors actually. That is not just the majority of the tumors, that is all the tumors on the top side if you clear those 6. Hydra then now in some trouble. Snipes 3 banelings before picking up. Leaves 1 creep tumor alive. 4 CC already finished. We have big reinforcements that can go across the map. I am massively feeling a 2-2 timing attack here. Like, you're moving across the map with 3-4 tanks as your +2 attack finishes. Hell yeah. I like the thought of that. This actually got cleared. Didn't see how that happened, but I bet banelings have something to do with it. There's no 5th base yet for Shin. Means it's going to be even bases against the Terran with more workers. Pumping 3 mines at a time. It's going to be 4 Marauders and 8 Marines as the production cycle here for Clem. In the future, the moment these barracks finish and the tech labs. We don't have Hive yet. This is not looking good for Shin. I think if I'm Shin, I want to fight instantly. 2-2 upgrades versus 1-1. And then go for a counter-attack, Hydra Link Bane. I think it is the only thing you can do. And I think that's what he's setting up for. So he's kind of min-maxing for this moment. Flank coming in very late from those links on the top side. Banelings are going to be running in. We have a scan out of Clem during this, by the way, which is interesting. During all of this, he scanned. And I think he's going to regret moving out after he kind of figured out what's happening. He's like, wait a second, you're still on lair attack. I did not have to do that. I could have just stayed home. Because the moment the 3-3 starts, the clock starts ticking, right? clock starts ticking. You don't actually have to be out on the map. Or at least not with everything, not with all your tanks. I don't mind having Marines on the map that actually forces the Zerg to defend, but having all the tanks out there, that's going to ruin your defensive setup a little bit. Luckily, the mine count is fairly high. They should burrow. They are going to burrow a little bit. Overseer is now showing up. This Banshee still cloaking. It's going to continue getting some kills here. Might get one more Hydra before it actually dies. No, it's going to actually deal even more damage here. And Marine count is not as high as it once used to be. Clem being pushed back. Yeah, it's really going to regret losing those tanks right now, as the Baneling count is just not high enough. I think that's going to be the main issue here. The lack of Banelings. You have like 10 more Banelings here. There's really no factory unit. There's none. And yes, the supply is in favor of Clem, but a lot of that is actually in those medevacs. This was a super close game. A super close game, but I do believe that Clem is walking away with it at this point. Up 40 supply, and he's going to be up a base. He's going to be up in upgrade. Like 3-3 is a game ender here. That finishes it. Like that, you're never going to get a good trade at that point. Like right now, maybe you hit some Baneling, some fat Baneling hits on creep. Like you could maybe see it, but it's hard to imagine. Ooh. Mine tanks like 2 Baneling hits and then still gets a shot off as well. It's very unfortunate. But yeah, 60 supply lead right now for Clem. He made it difficult for himself, though. I love that he did the scan during the fight. It was like, oh, that's a lot of units. He probably doesn't have a hive. Like, the fact that he realized that kind of mid-fight, like, oh, that's a lot of units. That's weird. That's not correct. I don't think he should have this army after the early game. Like, that is game sense as well. And then he scans it. He's like, okay, I now know that I made a mistake moving out. But, yeah, not a whole lot you can do about that anymore at that point. And Shin just not with enough stuff right now. I wonder if Clem is actually going to wait until 3-3 or says, hey, I'm maxed. I probably just want to trade. We can fight off creep if you want to. You can leave the purple stuff behind. Things don't dance, and if they don't dance, well, there are no things of mine. Yeah, like 10-15 seconds away from the +3 finishing right now as the 5th base has landed. Here comes the flank. Actually, a really nice setup out of Shin, but he just doesn't have enough units. Like, it doesn't matter how good your setup is if you just don't have any units. You can have the 360 surrounded, one ling on each side. Just not going to work. Clem wins this series with a 2-1 score. Dominant performance, honestly. Really showing why he's one of the best. Actually, why he is the best in the world with Terran right now. And maybe even just in general. Our world champ. All right, it's going to be it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to like, but subscribe to the channel. I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye-bye.